Joined by a special guest today out of Arkansas. He's 17. He's already amassed over 700,000 followers on social media. He's dropped over two projects each of the last 3 years. He's worked with multiple different artists. He's broken 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. The young goat, Drizzy Tay. He's gonna get started by telling you a little bit about how he first got into music.
So, man, first of all, thanks for having me, bro. It's an honor. Um, First and foremost, thank you for the great introduction. But man, really, I got into music from seeing like my father write music. My father was always a person who he just wrote music for like I guess therapeutic reasons. I don't know, but he would always sit in his recliner and write music, and I've just drawn an interest ever since. And hey, now I'm in it. So.
Yeah. What gave you that push to go from just writing the music to actually like releasing as consistently as you do?
Honestly, man, the support from the people for sure. Like because before I even like started releasing music, um, I used to like snippet it, on Facebook and do like Facebook freestyles with like the beat playing in the back, and the love from the people is what really made me want to take that next step. Honestly, so
And how old were you when you were doing that?
probably nine,
9.
probably
Okay,
nine.
so yeah. So even though you're 17, you've already put in a good 8 years.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
man. I'm
impressive. That's impressive. Like at 17, to already be putting in.
1,000 hours,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, man.
And
I'm just.
did you Did you even know back then, I guess, because, when you're 9, you want to play, you want to do all these sports, you want to do all these other things that kids want to do. What pushed you to be like, no, I'm going to start like a business at this age?
Really, bro, I just always strive to be different. Nobody around me was making music. Nobody in my hometown was making music. I wanted to be different, and my people, like my father and my mother, was behind me 100%. So, yeah, man, we all came together and was like, let's take this next step. Let's, because I was like 10 at the time. It was like, hey, let's actually put out a song, and we ended up doing it.
That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people make comments about like where they're from and how they're not in LA or they're not in Nashville, they're not in these big music cities. But you actually come from a really, really small city in Arkansas of like 10,000 people. So how did
Yeah.
you just decide you weren't ever going to use that as an excuse and just say you're just going to go for it anyways?
I don't know, man. I feel like with the internet, right? Like when I figured out what the internet was and I was able to grasp the concept, I was probably like 12 or 13. I realized that I didn't need my hometown. Actually, people didn't even need to know where I was from. I just needed to make good music and good product and put it in front of the people, and they'll all like come to it eventually. And that's really the mindset that I still have to this day. Like I love where I'm from, I love where I live, but I don't need like the support from them. A lot of times the people where you from won't really support in the beginning anyway. But yeah, I
Mhm.
just feel like you got to take over the world before you take over your hometown all the time. So
No, for sure. You mentioned like using social media to connect with people. You've been able to connect with artists like Lil Kel, Lil J Osama, artists like that. Where did you find the confidence to reach out to people at that level where a lot of people might be scared of rejection or no's that you could face when reaching out to people at a different space than you at the time?
yeah, nah, that's a big one for sure. Good question too. Um, I just feel like you're gonna get so many no's. You might as well go ahead and get them out the way anyway. Like sometimes I'm ready for a no. Like especially like me being younger, like so many people always told me no, whether it be like collabing or whatever, right? So I was just
Hmm.
honestly ready for every no. Like, and if I had a list of all the no's, it would be way longer than all the yeses I've had. And I remember like seeing something a couple of years ago that Kobe Bryant was like the leading second leading scorer or something like that. But he's also the first in missed shots. So that just made me think like, okay, I'm gonna just keep shooting, no matter what that may mean to the people watching or whatever. Just keep shooting, honestly.
Was there a moment where you felt like you started getting more yeses and you had like another level of confidence with that when it came to whether it's collaborating or like putting stuff out where you're like, no, like I'm like doing this now. Like it wasn't like a thing for fun anymore. It was like this is my thing now.
Yeah, for sure, bro, and it for sure, and but you also gotta like find the line because I feel like you can get too confident, and that can turn into like
Mhm.
cocky. Then you can become like this really arrogant person that doesn't appreciate what they have and kind of takes it for granted. So luckily, I was able to have people around me that kept me grounded and reminded me like, yeah, you're doing really great, but we still gotta, you know, you're still this, So yeah, I most definitely had a moment where I was like, man, I'm feeling like that guy right now, but I just had to stay humble for sure.
Yeah, you kind of talk about your community of people around you, and with your platform, even though you're 17, you've managed to create this community of fans, and it's not just about the music. It's about, you post a lot about healthy habits, drinking your milk every day, stuff like that. Like it sounds simple, but it's the extra step to connecting with your fan base and talking about real stuff going on in your life. And even if it's just a message where you hop on and just like, hey, I hope you have a blessed day, stuff like that. Where did that come from?
Honestly, bro, when I realized that anybody can make good music, like, right, we live in America, like, or wherever you from, whoever watching this video, wherever you live, there's talented people all around you. There's talented musicians, there's talented sports players. I wanted to be able to make a difference. And aside of making music, I'm constantly checking on my people. I'm constantly having mental health talks with whether my family or a couple of people that I'm friends with. So I was like, why not take this energy that I already provide behind the scenes and bring it to the main stage, and see how the people react and see if people appreciate it. And they did. And I was able to, and even still to this day, I'm able to help people every day with their mental health, whatever they're going through, depression. So it kind of showed me like, okay, it's way bigger than this music thing for sure.
Mhm. And on top of that, you also, on your own, created an ebook to kind of help new artists or people that are trying to figure out like the next steps that they can maybe implement to promote growth with whatever they're doing. What was like the driving force behind that, where you're like, I'm going to invest a bunch of time and effort into this ebook that people can just download and, pretty cheap, easy to access, have it wherever you are, and it's just like a tool to assist you. Where did I guess like the drive to do that, because that's to make something compact and efficient and fluent and useful isn't something where you just sat down one night at your computer and said, I'm gonna type this up real quick and then I'm gonna get back to music tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like with the ebook, right? It was honestly, bro, I get so many messages. How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? And I remember being that same person who would message bigger creators, and because even before music, like whenever I was just trying to navigate the internet, I was always like searching on how to do certain things, and I wanted to be able to like also be different too because like all the ebooks out there are like $70, $150. I made mine $15, and I was able to make it an affordable price for people who because I also understand that everybody don't have it like that. We live in a world where everybody's not just super duper financially like stable, and that's okay, because people are working and growing. But I want to be the person that can set the difference and make an affordable ebook, and also provide the same information that $150 ebook would have. So it really stemmed from that, bro. Just trying to make something really affordable for the people because I remember being in that position and answer everybody's questions. Because like what I put in the ebook was basically my whole formula for like my whole virality within the last 4 years on social
Mhm.
media, honestly. So
No, and that's important too, because that's I would say I find maybe 10 to 15% of artists on Spotify. I'd say like 80% I'm finding on social media, where I'm just like looking, trying to find people. I think I found you with in 2022 with a song you put out with Lil J Rock, which I know you put out like 100 songs with that guy by now, but it was one of those from like 2022 that you put out. And like there's the back and forth of people that don't want to do social media and all that. They just want to do music, whatever. But what pushed you to just, I mean, even at high school, I think like, as you get older, you still have this fear of like what people will think when you post something. But in high school, I feel like it's higher than ever, where you're just like, everything you do on a daily basis feels like you just have to worry about like what clothes you're wearing, what you look like, what your hair is looking like, everything.
Yeah.
What prompted you to just be like, no, I'm gonna go for a high volume. I'm not gonna care about that. I'm just gonna release consistently on social media and from a music standpoint.
I mean, man, honestly, I haven't been to school since the 6th grade, bro. I stopped going to school in the 6th grade. I went online, for my mental health. I really don't like being around people. School was never a thing for me. I just wanted to be able to create, and I told my mom and dad when I think maybe I was 13 when it happened. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna give this my all, and I can't promise that I'll be the biggest. I can't promise that I'll be the richest, but it's something that I really want. And if you guys love me, you'll let me do it. And they
Hmm.
let me, and ever since then, it's been great. So that gave me the opportunity to not have to worry. But I still
Hmm.
see people in my town, and people still talk to me. So I still do have that, but I think really just the confidence, right? So like, you are just gonna have to wing it in the beginning, but once you start getting the validation from people that can kind of give you that push to be like, okay, I'm really going to take this forward now all the way.
Yeah. And you mentioned kind of not attending like a public school before. Has that made you realize, and this isn't a dig at the public school system necessarily, but has it made you realize like how efficient you can be with your schooling at home? I was also homeschooled as a kid, and I just realized how much like less time you have to spend doing schoolwork compared to the people that spend 8, 9 hours a day doing the same thing and not like there's all that time that you spend that's just like bullshit stuff that doesn't really benefit you in the long run.
Yeah, nah, and that's actually crazy that you was homeschooled too. That's crazy how,
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. I just feel like 8 or 9 hours is cool, and school works for a lot of people, but for some people, maybe it doesn't, and that's why I'm glad that they opened up the ability to like school yourself from home. Save yourself a lot of time. I work at my parents' food truck Monday, Friday. It gives me time to be able to do that. Yeah, my bad. It gives me time to be able to, work at my parents' food truck Monday through Friday, help them with their dreams just as much as they help me with mine as I've been growing up. Work on my dreams on the side of that, and also just communicate with the people and just keep everything going. And really, if I had school, I don't know if I would be able to keep all of this up.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's awesome that you're not just, saying, "Oh, I don't have this time, so I can just invest it all into myself." You're taking some of that time and investing it into the people around you. I think that's cool, especially at such a young age. I definitely wasn't doing that at 17, so I'll be honest. All my free time was my free time.